Hello, beautiful people.
What's up, brother?
Good one today, man. I'm excited. So I'm here with John Cranford, island music legend, if you will. And we're going to
It makes me feel old, Nick, when you call me a legend. I've been here for 50 years, chiseling away, you know?
It's true, though. It's accurate. It's accurate.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course, dude. Of course. So you reached out to me a couple of months ago because you've been watching the podcast.
Yeah,
greatly
love
appreciate.
it. Y'all are crushing it.
And you and I kind of, this is what I like about this area and this community is that we kind of like support each other.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm always sharing your stuff, Campfire, Jevin, all you guys, and in turn, you guys have been supportive of my endeavor, which of course
it takes a village.
It does, exactly. And I always say food is a universal language, right? So one of my favorite things from recently was, because as you know, I did one of these on location special events with Thomas Riley and Jada, his sister, and we were at Gruby's, and a couple of weeks, it was only a couple of weeks before that, you had one of these monster Gruby sandwiches, and you were just attacking it. And we might have to do the same thing here because Lucier wanted me to try this McMansion burger, which is basically Slowcountry's take on a Big Mac.
That's a serious burger.
It is legit.
It's not fooling around.
It's not, man. It's not. McMansion.
How many patties? 3 patties?
3 patties.
Oh, my goodness.
House sauce tossed lettuce. Pickles, American cheese. And in addition to that, they brought us out a Georgia shrimp and crab gumbo with some Carolina gold rice.
Oh, man.
And chef's recommendation was the brisket sloppy Joe.
That thing looks like a really big endeavor.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
and a lot of napkins.
This thing, we got you supplied me with some napkins, with some wet naps. This is pimento cheese, chopped brisket, and onions.
And you got some beans over there.
And some baked. You gotta go baked beans if you're going barbecue,
right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's what I love about Lee and Chef here at Slowcountry. These guys take their barbecue pretty seriously. So much so that they're having a barbecue festival, which we've been having the last few years.
Yes.
Where we bring a ton of barbecue chefs from all over the place to come and eat barbecue and make barbecue and talk about barbecue. So I think Slowcountry's got it going on, and I definitely think it's sort of a missing link for Hilton Head to have a barbecue restaurant, a great barbecue restaurant.
I agree.
We're in the South, and there's just not a lot of barbecue on Hilton Head.
Yeah. We got Smokehouse. Smokehouse does a good job.
Smokehouse Carson.
I will say this, and I had Walker on the other day. Obviously, they got good barbecue, but I go there for a lot of the other stuff.
Yeah.
The wings. He's coming out with some great smash burgers and fish specials and stuff like that. So even though it is Smokehouse, they go well beyond, the focus isn't strictly on barbecue. The focus here, and I know we got a burger in the mix too, but the focus here is strictly on the barbecue. And this, for those of you who don't know, this is a relatively newer concept. So this was the location prior to this. This was Forest Fire Barbecue, and they kind of decided to tweak it a little bit. The word is that because you kind of walk up and you would ask for what you wanted. It was almost cafeteria style. Which I thought was fine, but I don't think that played as well with the tourists who prefer to be.
Yeah, I think that works in like Texas and other spots. I've been to some of those joints out there where you're waiting in line at 10 in the morning, and when it's your turn, you walk to the counter and you get your bag of brisket. But yeah, I like the new concept here at Slowcountry. You got service, you got a bartender. People want to sit down. They're on vacation. They don't want to wait in line. I totally get it. And the staff here at both Slowcountry, which is also attached to Fish, is like one of my favorite staffs on Hilton Head. Everybody here is awesome that works here. Of course, we're playing here a ton, both at Bish and then out here on the Coligny Island stage. or we will be having Hilton Head Island Jam next week.
That's next week. So we're recording this on Wednesday, September 10th. So next week.
Yep, starting Thursday.
Okay.
Actually, the first show
Couple
is right
days.
here.
Couple days then.
Yeah,
Okay.
4 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're bringing down over 25 Nashville A-list hit songwriters. I mean,
25?
most of these folks
Oh,
have
shit.
Grammys or have written for huge artists. And not just in a country demographic. There's folks here that have written for Whitney Houston and Elton John and people in the pop genre and people in the rock genre. I know Marty Fredrickson's coming back. Marty and I got to play together the first year over at Poseidon. Marty did the singing for the movie Almost Famous.
Oh, really? I love that.
So when you hear the Fever Dog, that's Marty's.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't whatever that guy's name was that played the lead singer, Russell,
Yeah.
or Russell, whatever it was.
Yeah, so Marty did all the singing for that, and it's a great crew. Plus, we have some locals on the bill. Always want to represent the locals. Myself and the boys in Cranford Hollow. Kyle or Nick from Pretty Darn are playing differently. Not unfortunately, we're able to get Pretty Darn together this year, do some scheduling stuff, but the two of them are both playing. We got CC Witt and Matt Eckstein coming over from Savannah. So a good little representation of local artists.
Yeah.
Plus the big crew of folks coming down from Nashville. I think it's over 12 or 13 venues, over 30 some shows. And it's just kind of all day. And the great part about it, because the town is so awesome and sponsors this thing,
Yeah.
all these shows are free as general public.
Oh, really?
And there's no ticket required, including the park shows. Late night, Bamboo, Thursday, Friday. We're going to do a little late night thing here at Slowcountry Saturday night.
Okay.
And the shows are totally open to the public.
That's awesome. This has become like a real hot spot for music here in Coligny. Like you said, you got Slow Country Barbecue and Grill. You got Fish Coastal. Was it Fish Coastal Seafood?
Seafood,
Yes, casual coastal seafood. And we got this, like John said, what do they call this island?
The Coligny Island Stage.
The Coligny Island State.
Kind of our new favorite little addition. We've done a ton of stuff out there so far. I know Kyle and the Algorithm guys have played there before. They're playing there for Rock N Ribs.
Oh, nice.
We did Rock N Ribs there last year with Driving and Crying. We built a big stage out there, super fun. And yeah, as far as Coligny really becoming, I think, the hub for live music here on Hilton Head.
For sure.
It's been like a 10-year endeavor down here. You know, there's guys like Tristan and Kieran up at Bamboo who have been great supporters of live music for years.
Absolutely.
Now we have Erica over at the Sandbar. They're kind of just entering their 10-year. They were a newer restaurant, but they're just so busy and so much great music over
Constantly music running through
constantly.
there. Yeah.
Day in, day out. The folks over here at Skillet's Cafe, there's occasionally some music over there during the summer. We have the center stage here in the plaza, where there's music 7 nights a week between Memorial Day and Labor Day, including Jevin doing
That 3-day the kid show, right?
Yep. And Nick and Kyle and myself and Eric Reed, we all play over there. That's super fun. So there's just a ton of music here in Coligny. It's nonstop. Obviously, I'm not at the feeder anymore, but we had a ton of great shows there. We have Sea Blast Stage that's taken over the theater now, and they're doing such a great job with some live music. I know Fodderall just played there recently.
A big show.
And an awesome show there. So there's still supporting. So yeah, there's just music everywhere here in Coligny, and we just appreciate the business owners and the Richardsons for all their support of live music over the years, both at the restaurants, the individual business owners, and then Coligny Plaza as a whole, the Merchants Association, supporting so many of these big events, whether it be the Rock N Ribs coming up here next month in October, or stuff like St. Patrick's Day or big events through the summer.
Yeah. Well, just like you said, it takes a village, and that's a huge deal that they want to support the local musicians. And it works both ways, too, because people are here listening to you guys. They're going to enjoy some barbecue. They're going to enjoy some seafood next door, right?
Yep.
I mean, I did Rock N Ribs a couple years ago, the main act is Blues Traveler.
Yeah, that was
over
a
here
fun
at the
show.
lot. That was incredible. I was here I watched you guys, obviously.
We had a blast. John Popper and those guys, we've got to play with them a few times over the years. They have a lot of ties here in the Southeast. Of course, they used to come down here and play Old Post Office way back
Okay.
before they were huge. And we've had the opportunity to play with them up in Augusta and Columbia, and then down here at Rock N Ribs HHI. Back 38 Special the year before last.
Yeah, man.
So it's been a lot of fun. We're condensing Rock N Ribs this year.
Okay.
The big parking lot show, it's so much fun, but it is a lot with Songwriter Fest, with all kinds of stuff happening. We're kind of condensing it just to the area of Fish and Slow Country, plus there'll be some other events.
Okay.
Miss Orchid Palmer's going to be here doing her thing. That's going to be so great.
Yeah. One Hot Mama, right?
It. Yep. And then there's another crew, Mother Smoking Good Barbecue, coming out. So we're gonna have some great food. Algorithm, Cranford Hollow, Nick Poulin, and that's coming up in October. So get online, get your tickets. I got a poster right here. I'm sorry, I'm kind of reading out the poster.
I might have to steal that from you after watch it.
Tickets are $45, but that's a full day of music. It's good stuff to eat. So come on out, and a lot of the proceeds are going to Second Helping, which is a great organization here in Hilton Head.
Yeah.
Helping out those folks that need some food, need some help and assistance.
That's an incredible deal. Only $45. You're getting Algorithm. You're getting Cranford Hollow. You get Nick Poulin.
And you're getting barbecue.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd pay $45.
I would pay double that. I would pay more than double that for. I mean, I remember when I was here for that one 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago. The amount of options was staggering.
Yeah.
And they had on top of that they had water and soda was free. That was included in the price. That they had water and soda on ice, which was it was a pretty warm day. So that was good. They had cocktail bar.
Yep.
They had beers, and like you said, basically any and every vendor at restaurant, food truck, etc. that offers barbecue. It's just like a lot of these festivals. It's a way for them to showcase their product, their menu offerings in this sort of environment. And that was actually, I'll be honest, as I've said this before, some of the festivals are a little bit of a letdown for me just in terms, because I'm going for the food.
Sure.
So I've been to a couple of these where, and it was just an unfortunate circumstance. I think it was the wine and food festival over in Low Country Celebration Park. This was like not the first year that I moved down here in 21 when they pushed it back a little bit because of COVID, but the next year, a couple of the vendors had to drop out last minute. So there was only like 2 or 3 food vendors at the time. I know Al's Aloha was one of them. I can't remember what the other 2 was, but some of them to me are just disappointing because there's just a lot of it's a lot of wine,
a lot of booze.
Yeah, and I got to get back out to Bluffton, man. Like I can't be hanging out here drinking all day and then making my way back out there. Not to say that it's not a good time. I mean, they're packed. Everybody has a blast. But if you're there for the food, I don't know that there's a better, food/music festival.
These folks
than Rock and
fool around down here.
Yeah.
There's great food, and it's a vibe. I think that day is a day that we all look forward to.
Definitely.
As performers, as folks involved, because it's a lot of fun. We have a great time. Obviously, great to help out Second Helpings. And
it's a great party.
It's a day that I look forward to all year long. In fact, there were some talks this year of moving around or whatever, and I was like, "Come on, we got to do this. We gotta get this going." Yeah. And so I'm so happy that Lee and the crew decided to go through again with it this year. It's going to be a big success. It's been a big success in the past.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to eat.
Oh hell yeah! Oh yeah. Well, speaking of what,
let's do it, man.
All right. So what I'm gonna do? We got this McMansion here. I'm gonna cut this thing in half so that you and I can attack this together.
All right.
Because this thing is colossal. Again, this is Slow Country Barbecues. This is essentially their take on the
Big Mac.
On the Big Mac. This is
get my wet nap ready.
McMahon. Yeah, you got to get that ready. I'm always self-conscious when I'm eating on a video. I'm like wiping my mouth every 2 seconds. I said I did the chicken parm video with Chef Antonio Mancini Albano from AMA Private Dining. Help yourself to be surprised, by the way. I can't stop eating them. And he had a chicken parm pop up at Lot 9 a couple of weeks ago. And I was sitting outside. It was kind of a quiet day. Lot 9's AC was off, so I sat outside. It was a little bit more comfortable outside. And, you know, I'm eating a gooey, cheesy, you know, chicken parm, and a little bit too much, even though I had my mouth closed for a little bit of the chewing, but I guess what are you going to do?
The beer doesn't help, you know. It's tough with the beer
It is what it is.
to get cheese in there. But look at this thing.
The three patty is incredible.
Holy smokes, man.
You got kind of like a remoulade sauce on there, essentially like a mac sauce type of thing going on. Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, I'm going to do it.
Had a really strong flavor, man. It hits you right away.
These burgers are so good.
This thing, first of all, we're sitting here bullshitting. Who's been sitting here for 5-10 minutes? Burger's still piping hot.
Steaming hot.
Right? You got cheese.
The remoulade's really nice. The pickle's really nice.
Yeah. No,
It's like
cheese in between every layer, too, which is cool.
a next level gourmet Big Mac.
It really is. It's an elevated Big Mac. High quality, local beef patty.
I think the biggest thing with the burger, a lot of times at a restaurant, it gets looked over. It's, you know, you got to have a burger on the menu for the kids, for the folks that don't like to eat barbecue or they don't like to eat crab. And sometimes, you know, the burger kind of gets looked over. And I think the greatest thing about Slowcountry is they're not fooling around. They're taking this very seriously.
I love it with
Seasoning on the meat, I think, like the
I think that's what hit me right away first.
is so good.
Yeah. Very well seasoned. Perfect combination. You have your lettuce, tomatoes, your pickles, and they call it their it's their house sauce, their house burger sauce. Now, if you're intimidated by the McMansion, which is the triple patty, you do have other options. You can go with the duplex double patty. You can even go with the single patty if you think that this is a little bit too much for you. And then to round out the sandwiches, you got the all clucked up, which is a pickle grind, double dipped and fried chicken breast, lettuce, tomato, and hot honey, which I love. And then, you know, pulled pork sandwich with mop sauce. And then we're going to try in a second here. We're going to go with that brisket sloppy joe with the pimento cheese, like we said, the chopped brisket and onions.
That thing looks very serious over there. I'm a little intimidated.
I'm not going to lie, I am too. I mean, it is a heaping pile of brisket. Man. That's as good a burger as I've had in a while. What I always say is, sometimes the simplest things are the most delicious. I mean, there's some crazy burgers around here. I recorded a podcast this morning with Chef Scott Hastings from Lulu Kitchen. They got a real good burger. Wagyu with an onion ring and all this crazy stuff. Chez George is another favorite with the raclette and the I think it's whiskey onions and whatnot. So there's some burgers that get really gourmet. But when you're talking a straightforward, like if I was going to a barbecue and I was hanging out with some friends and family, that's the apex burger to have in that type of situation.
And it's a classic. I mean, there's nothing...
Exactly.
Like,
perfect word.
I love and appreciate the crazy burgers, the gourmand burgers. But this is a classic burger. And another little known secret, I believe they're using the same beef over at Fish. Now, Country's opened Wednesday through the weekend.
Yes.
But on the days that Slow Country is not open, if you want to get a great burger, go right next door to Fish.
Okay.
Fantastic. And that's like a little secret menu item. And I believe it's the same beef. It's
Okay.
the same flavor.
It makes sense that it would be.
And that's my favorite little secret menu item over there. If you're not into the fish, if you're not into seafood, get the burger over there.
So giving you the behind the scenes stuff here.
Yeah.
This is
Same fries too.
This is how I learned when I start coming down here on vacation. The locals telling me, this is where the locals go. This is where, the sneaky good spots, and then you go to certain places. You get little tips here and there. Speaking of secret menu items, Shep just told me that. So I got this gumbo here, right? I got this Georgia shrimp and crab gumbo, which I'm going to dig into in a minute here. But in that same type of bowl, if you want, you can get fries with chili and cheese. I'm
Oh
gonna
my
put this over
God.
here because these fries, I'm going to keep digging in. I want you to as well, but and I'm gonna cut this brisket sloppy Joe up for us too. But yeah, secret menu item. If you want chili cheese fries, I mean, these fries are delicious by themselves, but if you're gonna throw chili and cheese into the mix, I mean, I can imagine how good that is. I'm gonna do my best here, bro, because this thing is wow. I'm gonna try my best to deliver this to you with as minimal mess as possible.
Wow.
And I gotta, let me give you a minute.
I'm giving the old fries section close up.
I lost you some of the brisket thing. Let me give it
The pimento, man.
a little bit of brisket snuck out of there. Yeah, I'm excited for this because I'm admittedly, I'm not the biggest pimento cheese fan.
This may be a spork endeavor.
It is, and that's why I'm glad that you grabbed these for us. Again, I'm not the biggest pimento cheese fan, but when you're incorporating it into a sandwich, it's a completely different venture.
It really has the sloppy Joe flavor. But oh man, that meat is tender.
I think they call this moppy sauce.
Man, oh man.
It's a real thick, smoky, super flavorful barbecue sauce. I'm gonna go fork and knife with this guy.
With the pimento, I think it really sets it off.
It does, because I don't know. There's not too many sandwiches that I prefer without some sort of cheese incorporated into it, but it's the creaminess of the pimento cheese combined with this super tasty barbecue sauce. It's really it's not just a flavor thing, but it's also a texture thing.
The meat is super, super, super tender, but it hasn't turned to that like mush.
It's melting in your mouth, but
It's still got texture to it.
it does. Yeah, I agree.
That's something, if I'm making barbecue at home, I tend to always overcook it, and it just gets that.
You cook quite a bit.
I'm in the kitchen 4 or 5 nights a week, if I can be. But I don't have a big smoker. I don't have anything like that, and to be able to come down here and get this quality of barbecue, it's almost like, why bother? No, I'm just gonna come here and get it.
For sure. I feel like I've seen your friend Matt Stock. You've had a couple dinners with friends over and things like that,
Yeah.
where you make some pretty special stuff, right?
Yeah, so that's actually what brought me to Hilton Head. I got down here in 2009, and I was exec chef down at Seaplines at
Oh, I didn't know
was the Harbor Town Grill.
Oh, this is incredible.
Yep, that was my 20s, man. I was very, very fortunate early on to get in at a restaurant on Mackinac Island, up in the UP of Michigan on the Straits of Mackinac.
Okay.
And
You like to say you're a big Midwest guy.
yeah,
I'm born up there. You go to Milwaukee.
and I'm a
Good fruit hat.
huge Wisconsin guy. I love the cold temps. I love the Midwest. And I was bouncing around for a few years, working summers at the Hotel Iroquois on Mackinac Island.
Okay.
And at a very young age, I think by chance, because they didn't have anybody else, they put me in charge.
Right.
I was executive stew up there for a few years, and I ran around. I was exec at a Verlaine Chateau property in northern Wisconsin called Canoe Bay. Then I was working at a great restaurant in Lansing, Michigan called Spropo, under one of my favorite chefs I ever worked for, Jason Keisch. And my mother had retired to Hilton Head, or bought a small condo over in Shipyard about 2005. And through her social,
Right over here. Yep.
right, through her social group, she had met someone that was at the HR department in Sea Pines. They were saying, man, we always need extra help for the heritage tournament. And my schedule always sort of aligned, that break between my winter and summer position
Right.
was April. So that was a great time. I'd usually come, a week or a few days before, work the week of heritage, stay a few days afterwards. And after a few years of doing this, they said, well, would you like to come back in the fall, help us out in the kitchen at the Harvey Child Grill? So I went down there, and I was there for about 1.5 to 2 years. And then I found out that they pay you to play music on Hilton Head. And at that point, we were all the guys in Cranford Hall, we were also working other jobs. And Phil Sermon's actually the bass player at Cranford Hall.
So you're doing music all throughout this.
Yeah, I was always
Culinary
doing it as a hobby,
Yeah. For
day
fun.
off,
Yeah.
strum the guitar on the couch sort of thing.
Right.
And loved being a part of it. Of course, I was involved heavily in the high school time, playing music in the jazz band, a band that played around Manhattan Town. So to have the opportunity would start to get paid to play is really what changed the game for me down here. And of course, at the time I was running with Phil Sermon, who was chef over at Longcoat Club.
Right.
And Phil and I were writing songs together. And at that time we had a great band with Jesse Watkins and John Ruxin called Treble J. That was more of a cover band. We had a few originals, but we were playing Rennie's and, some of the spots down maybe at Black Marlin and things like that. Oh, at the old dry dock when they're over here where the college was. We played there a few times. Smokehouse, of course. And we met Eric Reed, and that kind of changed the whole trajectory of like the last 15 years of my life. And I think if it weren't for Phil and Eric, I would probably still be in a kitchen somewhere.
Yeah.
And because of those guys, they all decided winter of about 2011, hey, we're going to quit our jobs and go on to it.
Okay.
And that was that. And we spent like 8 years touring up until COVID.
No.
And man, I wouldn't trade any of that for the world. And along the way, of course, we got to eat so much good food. I was talking about Texas barbecue, and we got to be in a lot of places and eat a lot of good food. But Slowcountry, man, they hang in there. It's a big job. I want to try these beans.
It's stole the thought right out of my head.
I've been like yakking over here, and I want to like get at these beans.
Look how thick these are. It doesn't want to come out of the bowl. That's how thick they are. Look at this big chunks.
Look at the
pork they got in there. Yeah. So this is again the baked beans, which is a side you can get with any sandwich or entree, if you will. You can get potato salad. You can get coleslaw. As we already said, these fries are delicious, very well salted, crispy, nice and soft potato on the inside. These are burnt end beans. So that's this. I mean, you guys, you can see just even from the camera. Look at this big chunk of burnt end. We've got black beans in here.
There's a huge layer of flavor in here. There's kind of like an initial hit that's really familiar, kind of that classic barbecue flavor. But there's some sweetness.
I just said sweet. Yeah.
That like hangs on the tongue for a little bit. And man, oh man, I love the sauce too. Like I like a saucy baked bean.
Oh, for sure.
Especially like being a big Midwest, the potluck in the basement of the church kind of thing. The sauce on the bean is really the key here.
These are really good baked beans.
Yeah.
This is not something
up with this.
Oh, for
That'll
sure.
be about 30 degrees.
I got a bowl just like this,
You know,
a soup-sized bowl of it. So, man, I follow you on your socials very closely. I enjoy watching you when you take your couple of times a year trips
my soul
up north.
My escape, man. That's my
Exactly.
escape route up there.
So let me ask you this. When you're going on those trips and you're going to see grandma and you're going and we got all these beautiful, you're a great photographer, by the way. Thanks, brother. Take incredible photos. It really is a lot of fun following you. From a food perspective, when you're going up to Wisconsin and up to the Midwest, what are you seeking out? What are your things that you're like, I'm going to be here for a week, 2 weeks, whatever the case is. Usually you and your wife, right? You got some family, you got some friends up there. What are I gotta do A, B, C, D while I'm here.
I got a hit list, and it's dependent on where I'm at.
No.
But let's say I'm driving. The first stop is always going to be in Illinois at Portillo's. Because
Sandwiches.
Portillo's rocks the beef, man.
Yeah.
And they've really expanded their locations and their availability. Now they do hot dogs as well, but I am a Portillo's beef guy. Dipped. The wetter the better. And I think the beef, that slow cooked beef is a very Midwestern thing.
The Chicago beef sandwich, right?
Yeah. And in my hometown, there's a place called Ray's Place.
I remember.
Been there since 1947. They haven't changed anything. It looks the same as when my grandfather was there and my father and when I go there now. And they make, it's the same kind of bun. It's just a classic sandwich bun, but a pile of slow roasted thin side for cheese. And that's always that's the hit. That always has to happen. They have a creamy horseradish mustard. Very hot. Silver Springs Farm.
I've heard of horseradish mayo, but I've never heard of a horseradish mustard.
It's called the mustard buzz. And you get that high,
It ends out your sinuses.
nasally burn, man. Oh, and on a cold day, especially if you maybe got a little sore throat or a snuffy nose, that's a great spot to be. Ray's Place, cold line and kugels on the draft. Can't really
comfort food as it gets, right?
That's the best. So that's kind of the top.
Dave,
That always has to happen. And then there's tavern culture, and that's, Hilton Head has bars and restaurants, but what the Midwest has is great mom and pop, locally owned small taverns, neighborhood taverns, and each little tavern may have a menu item that's a hit. So there's a joint kind of on the hill in Eau Claire off of downtown called the Amber Inn. I mean, I think they have one of the best cheeseburgers in the country. And it's nothing fancy. It's very simple, but it's very good. They've been doing it the same way 50, 60 years. So there's the tavern food. There's the taverns. There's a cheese curd, of course.
Yeah.
That's a whole can of worms right there. But actually, one of the coolest things about the Midwest, we have a large Laotian population. And after the Vietnam War, I believe it was the Lutheran Church that helped some of these folks get away from Vietnam and hard times over there. We have incredible pho. We have incredible Southeastern Asian food in my community, and especially if you get up near Minneapolis, Minnesota, there's a large Hmong and Laotian community, and they actually have a whole kind of market food stall area over in St. Paul, Minnesota. So if I fly in, if I'm not driving, that's another stop. I like to hit up this large Asian food market, and they don't fool around with, especially their stocks. The pho stock is so important, and the spice. I mean, if you like the heat, Laotian food is spicy, man. They don't fool around, and a lot of different fruit flavors, umami, different things like that.
Yeah, I didn't expect we'd be getting into Asian food. That might be. I mean, obviously, I'm Italian. I love my Italian food, and whatnot. But that actually might be my favorite. There he is. That might be my favorite, type of food. There's a restaurant group that I feel like I talk about it on every podcast over in Savannah. Used to be called Elle and the Chef. Now it's called Black Rhino Hospitality Group, Block to the Walk, man, all that good stuff. I never would have expected that the Midwest would have such a really good And when you're talking about, like you said, with what they use to prepare the broth, that's how you know the difference between your run-of-the-mill pho and when you got that depth of flavor with the broth. That's really when it takes it like to the next level.
And there's that whole umami level that, we just don't really get in Western cuisine
Not
much.
and absolutely not. Yeah.
But the classics, I mean, there's a lot of classic hits. And like I say, that tavern culture is so huge. And a lot of great setups just like this. You got a sandwich, you got a side, and it's all delicious. And I think, the biggest thing that steers me away from eating out a lot in Hilton Head is just price spend. If you're going out with your friends or your wife or whoever, and Slowcountry's crushing it, and most of this stuff is between 15 and 20 bucks.
Dude,
I mean, you can't even eat McDonald's now for 15 bucks.
not even. Now that you brought that to my attention, that's really important things to mention. This McMansion, which was a monster, you and I had to tag team this thing, just like with the brisket sloppy Joe. That triple patty is $15.
Yeah, I mean, literally can't even.
And that's
that's for that.
that's the most. The single is 8, the duplex 12. This brisket sloppy Joe, this thing didn't stand a chance. I just devoured this thing. $10.
And all the apps are under 10 bucks, and except for the trash can nachos, but they're like this mound.
Giant pile of nachos for $12 is a deal.
That's like a 2-person meal right there.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the biggest thing I see now, at least like steers me away a lot from like going out.
It's tough, man.
What I love about Slowcountry and Fish, I'm here a lot. I'm working a lot in the plaza.
Yes.
And for $15-20, you're out the door with like a really, really good meal.
You're not going away hungry.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And the other element too is like there's so many options on this island. One thing that I think occasionally gets lost is consistency. And one thing about Slowcountry and one thing about Fish, a lot of the places here in Coligny, it's the same folks. They've all been working here a million years, and they're doing a great job with the food. And to have that consistency, that's something I'm willing to kind of be true to every time, and want to come back for more.
You're getting good value.
Yeah.
It's dependable. You were talking about these onions and this baked beans. I can tell when I'm scooping up, basically polishing off the sauce.
You win the Clean Plate Club there, dude.
I mean, that thing is incredible. I'm gonna crush the last piece of this brisket thing.
I'm gonna grab a little hot sauce.
Okay. Yeah,
we can try this.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, they tried it. They said they tried it because some people don't like hot. So their baseline is going to be, pretty mild, but they're going to have options for you in terms of the hot sauce. So what do we got here?
Got a little Hot Daddies.
Okay.
Have you been over there?
No.
They're just on the other side of the plaza, right past Frosty Frog.
Oh, okay.
Literally a store full of hot sauce.
Nothing but hot.
Their smooth habanero heat.
Okay.
Local stuff.
I love local.
And, a great little, if you want to bring something from Hilton Head that's not a shark tooth necklace or
some
alligator skull or a seagull stole my sandwich baseball hat, go and get yourself some Hot Daddy's hot sauce right here in Hilton Head, right here in Coligny, just around the corner.
That's a great gift.
And they're super good, and they have all kinds of stuff. They have really, really hot stuff in there, and they have some milder stuff. They have everything, but literally like 500 different hot stuff.
I'm gonna check that out probably after I leave you.
All right, I'm gonna do a one bite.
One bite, everybody knows the rules, right? I see they got okra in here.
Oh,
Which you got to have at any gumbo, right?
I'm always mystified when I eat gumbo and the okra isn't slimy and it stays crispy just like it's doing in this. How do they do that? What's the secret? And that's a chef trick I never learned.
I agree with you. So sometimes I'm turned off by the slimy, especially when you get it fried. Sometimes you just take a bite, and we were talking about texture before. Sometimes the texture is just off-putting.
Yeah. Now that's banging though.
Yeah, man. Well, man, this is shrimp and crab in here. In addition to the okra the rice adds a nice element to it as well. I mean, I don't know who doesn't come to Hilton Head looking to get their fill of shrimp and crab.
You know,
Really good.
the old she crab soup, you know, that's been a standby forever down here, but I'm just not a she crab soup guy, and this hits the spot, man. And it's not for a hot item, it's not as like, oh, that's really robust and gonna tone me up. It's actually very light. Got a
It really is,
delicate
yeah.
flavor. You can taste a little bit of that roux in there, which I think is like such a classic, old school way to prepare something like this and make that thing thick. We want that sauce thick.
It's like I said, it's interesting. It's thick, but not overly heavy. I think that was a good way to describe it.
Yeah, it's very light. And,
You're not gonna need an immediate nap after this bowl of gumbo.
I do give props to the tourists that come down here.
Yeah.
And it's August.
Right.
And they're chowing a bowl of gumbos.
Yeah.
Man, good for you.
Yeah.
You know, I cannot eat gumbo in 110-degree heat, but to each their own.
Well, we mentioned Matt Stock. He's a big soup aficionado. I think
Soup season is upon us, man. And that's getting his sweaters and ties ready for soup season, I'm imagining.
I did I called it soup de tour
Love it.
last winter, and one of them was the gumbo at the old forest fire, and I just made my way. It was a great way to make a bunch of brief stops and incorporate a bunch of different places. I did, I don't know, maybe 12, 15 of them, anything from gumbo to like a lemon chicken orzo at Olive and Fig. I went over to Stu's over here. I did a trio. I did the gumbo, the chicken noodle, and the French onion. So we got our little fake fall cheese last week. Things got hot and steamy again. Now they're starting to cool up again. As those temperatures continue to drop, soup season is going to be in full swing. I'm going to be back out there for Soup de Tour Season 2.
Oh, man.
So maybe you and I might have to link up.
Yeah, you got to get to the Earl sandwich right here.
So, yes,
Coligny.
that's on the short list. I could probably count on one hand the places that I have not been.
Their soups are out of this world over there.
Really good sandwiches, obviously. Place been there forever.
Oh, yeah. Huh? Oh, yeah. Oldest still standing in original spot bar on Hill Night.
Right. Well, like you mentioned, you got Big Bamboo over here. Mm-hmm. Andy Kai's from my hometown. I graduated high school with his brother, Tim.
No way.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Tim, maniacal Devils and Mets fan. One of my favorite guys from back home. So I was delighted when I came down here. And I think I was probably at a GTA show.
Sure.
And I think Tim had seen a Facebook post that says, my brother's managing the bar over there, go say hi. And I got missed this quite a few years ago. But yeah, you got Bamboo. I just interviewed, like we talked about before we started recording, I interviewed Dave Keck yesterday. Bad Biscuits killing it over there in the old Nude Good Mood food spot. And we had a long talk about dearly departed Jim Lazenby from Pool Bar Jim. Let me tell you, that conversation was incredible. I knew, you talked about legends before, I knew how huge of a figure, how enormous of a figure he was on Hilton Head. The way that I described it was, because unfortunately I didn't have the chance to go over to Pool Bar Jim before he passed away, and the way I described it was, I felt when Jerry Garcia died and I hadn't gone to see the Grateful Dead yet. So I felt like that was my level of like remorse for not getting it. But the cool thing about that conversation was his spirit, his legacy, if you will, is alive and well. And it's going to be even more alive. I got to pump the brakes on these fries, bro. It's going to be even more alive.
Yeah, Dave
in a couple of months.
Some cool surprises coming up from the vault.
He does 8 warehouses worth of merch and
A lot of great
memorabilia. And when he reopens, after they take a short break,
Jim was one of those guys that, you know, if you looked over at the bar while you're playing your show and
Yeah.
Jim was there, he felt like very honored.
oh yeah,
He felt very like
in the presence of a really great man.
Jim's here, and just what a great guy. And of course, we all miss it. And I think that's like a great kind of encapsulation of this island and Hilton Head as a whole, especially here on the south end.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big small town. We feel that push in the summertime with the tourists, but there's so many people that have been here for so long, like Jim, like Dave Peck, like
Yeah.
Tristan and Kieran, like Lee and J.R. Richardson. The Richardson family has owned Coligny since the 60s, and what they built it up to. So there's a lot of care, there's a lot of mom and pop, and there's a lot of people like that consistently want to keep it local, help the locals, continue this kind of tradition of, hey, we gotta all get through the summer and we're gonna rock it, we're gonna crush it. But then there's cool stuff like this, Rock N Ribs happening in the off season that's really catering to the locals, and that's something I think too with Coligny. I know some of the locals in the summertime, they're like, oh man, I'm not going down there. You know, the tourists is crazy. But get down here in the off season. Get down here and get some gumbos. Get the McMansion burger. Go to some of these other spots. If you're new to the island, if you've been living on the island and just have never gotten to Coligny, get down here. There's great food, and the best part is there's really great people, and that's I think how this whole thing works. Is that we all feel like we're in this thing together as locals that live here, and without the help of some of these restaurants and bars, you know, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. And I think it's full circle, man, for sure. And for all of us, it's a big appreciation to Lee, to the Richardsons, to everybody here in Coligny for all they do.
I agree with you 1,000%. It's a super special place, like we talked about, bringing it full circle. Everybody's supportive of each other. And yes, this is a place that thrives, depends on tourism. You know, I'm never going to say, thank God the tourists are on, because I was one. Now, I'm fortunate that I've been here for 4.5 years. I've been coming down here since I was 10 years old or so. But I'm fortunate enough that I've been here for 4.5 years. And I'm very grateful to people like yourself, who I consider to be a friend, because you've welcomed me into your community.
Yeah, man.
And I know that part of the reason for that is because I immediately became an avid supporter of these musical acts that I would enjoy when I was coming down here on vacation. Just like I'm a supporter, an advocate of your restaurants, the food and people in the food and beverage industry. Those relationships are extremely important to me. And there's no better example of that than this little spot that we're hanging out right here. For those of you who don't know this, I'm going to let you in a little secret. Forget about the tourists. Forget about all that stuff. If you're strictly talking about temperature, comfort, I mean, this is a beautiful island. My wife fell in love with it immediately. We drove onto the island. She's like, this is like Jurassic Park. You know, it's so green. Like, you know, when you come up from up north, you're used to the Jersey Shore. Maybe if you're out on Long Island, you go to the Hamptons. I had a buddy that's his mom's got a house on the water in Connecticut. I've been to Cape Cod. This is a very unique spot, and it's not something that I had a glimpse of until I moved down here. Although I did say when we came down, I came down on I called it a business trip, Columbus Day weekend of 2020. I brought my checkbook. I said, I'm not leaving without putting a deposit down on the house. I got a little taste of it in a 3-4 day weekend with my mom and my wife. For those of you who are not aware of it, when you get into, and of course I'm sweating a little bit, we've been eating barbecue, but when you get into late September, early October, is there a better climate or environment then Hilton Head, and even through Thanksgiving.
I mean, really.
I mean, our winter is what, 4 to 6 weeks tops. I know we got snow this year.
I mean, even in winter. I mean, I like the cold.
Yeah.
Well, first, when it dries down a little bit in the fall, the sun's setting a little bit earlier. It's a little cooler out, and that's really, I think, what all of us feel like. Now it's our time to go out and play and have a little fun. And it's really the busiest. Fall has become the busiest time, right now for me throughout the year. And I like jokingly say to my family, like, well, now I have to go to work, and actually do a lot of work in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
But it's the best time to do it, and coming up, even through the holidays, having those cooler, a little bit crisper temperatures, but you're never shoveling snow. You're never scraping the ice off your glass in the morning. You don't got to get out there and start the car early. You know all about this stuff.
You don't need the auto start.
I'm a little bit biased. I'm not a beach guy. I'm not a hot. I got to deal with the heat in the summer. I got to play in it. But other than that, I stay in the air conditioning. But man, those kind of November, October through late.
You even get it. February into March are very similar.
Man,
The pre-spring.
I'll take it all
Yeah.
at the time.
Absolutely.
I take that all year round.
When I left New Jersey, I was at my parents' house because that was probably going to be one of the last times that I was going to see it, because they sold shortly after we moved down here. They followed us by about a month, and there was one patch of snow in the backyard that loosely resembled the outline of the state of New Jersey. And I took a picture of it with a peace sign. And I said then, and I'll say it again now, if I never shovel snow again for as long as I live, it'll be too soon. And ironically, we did get some snow in this past winter, but of course it didn't hang around very long. It was cool to see, for the day or two that it went. Of course, snowed down here. Everything was like kind of shut down for a week, right? Nobody was going anywhere, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it really is. It's the golden hour when you get into September, October, November, when you roll into the holidays. But the cool thing about Hilton Head is the show never stops.
No.
You guys play gigs all year round.
Yeah, I think even in January last year, I did a double header at the Jazz Fire, a whole weekend. So even if you're thinking, there's nothing happening, it's January, it's February, there's always something going down, and there's always somebody playing. I say this all the time, but just, for some of the folks maybe watching this, and I mean this with the best intention, and I'm saying it in a positive way. I hope it comes across okay, but get outside the gate.
Yeah.
And I think there is a huge demographic of this island that are a little bit older. They're older folks, and maybe it's the parking or the driving or the people. I get it. I have a grandma. My mother's in her 70s. I understand, but get outside the gate. Get out to a show. We have so many great fans that are in that upper age demographic. Yeah. We have so many people that get out and consistently see us, and it brings us joy to see them every week. So if there's any of y'all sitting at home and you're just kind of living the gated community life, get on out past the gate, especially in the wintertime. Now it's our time.
Yeah.
All these festivals. Next week, Hilton Head Island Jam, Rock N Ribs coming in October. There's a ton of stuff happening. So get out there and experience it and eat some great food while you're doing it.
Absolutely. And not just the Hilton Head population. Look, my people in B-Town,
Savannah,
get out here. Yeah.
come on over.
Beaufort, Port
Come and see
Royal,
us.
all this stuff. Get out here. You have so many, it's like Step Brothers, so many activities.
Right.
You have so many activities. You got so much great food. Again, just like John said, you got next week. What was it called again?
Hilton Head Island Jam.
Hilton Head Island Jam. Free.
Free to the public.
Free to the public.
Sponsored by the town of Hilton Head.
Absolutely. And you can't, how easy is that date to remember? 25/25. October 25th. Next month, a little over a month from now, Rock N Ribs. I've been there. It's great. Again, supports a great cause, like John said. And, dude, this has been awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you having me on. Thanks, y'all, for for watching us yak here for about an hour, eating some food.
Yeah.
Thanks to Slowcountry BBQ and Lee and the whole crew down here at Coligny for always just taking great care of us.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. All right, guys. Again, we got the Hilton Head Island Jam next week. We got Rock N Ribs coming up at the end of October. John Cranford and Cranford Hollow. Thank you, brother.
Hey, thanks, Nick.
This was awesome. Great lunch here at Slowcountry BBQ and Grill in Coligny Plaza, right next to Fish, casual coastal seafood. Right here, this beautiful fountain behind us, and the stage, again, the Coligny Island stage. As always, stay hungry, my friends.